All right, class.
Yes.
Try it again. Class.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, so this test is going to be a big chunk of your grade, and I'm trying to get you guys to take this seriously. I am recording this, so that's why we're saying hi to all the people online. Okay, even saying hi to yourself, because you're going to watch this later on. Are you having trouble with the pencil sharpener?
Doesn't work.
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
It's cricket.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
Yeah, do you know how pencil sharpeners work? Here, would you like one of these?
Yes.
Here, use one of these instead. And then here, take that back with you. Go back over there. There, yes. Good job. All right, so yes, this is going to be a big chunk of the grade for this progress or this report card here. Now, I highly recommend, because I'm going over everything item by item, step by step, pay close attention and take notes on all my steps. Because I know no one's playing with their phone right now on the download trying to hide it, even though that I can still see it. No one's doing that. So, yes. So put the phone away so you're not being distracted by it. I would appreciate it. And no one has earbuds in because I know that you're paying attention. All right. So not casting any shade at anyone in particular during this video. Okay. All right. So for this right here, this is going to be my test review here. Now, estimate each scatter plots for the R values. Now, what I'm saying is on this, you're going to have to, on the test, it's a multiple choice. You're going to have to match values. Okay, so you're going to have R values and you're going to have scatter plots and you're going to have to match them together. So let's take a look at my first R value. So what do you think this first R value should be? Does this actually have any correlation here? Or is it just dots everywhere? Dots everywhere. I would say this one's close to 0. So I'm going to estimate it at R equals 0. And is there correlation? None. There's no correlation here. There's no correlation, especially for those people that need to pass this class and are not playing with their phone. Now the second one right here. If I sketch a line through this, would that work?
No.
Can I? They are kind of in the same direction, aren't they? They're kind of going together here. So I can kind of sketch a line there. So with that line that I just sketched, what do you say the R value would be?
0.6.
Okay, 0.6. But wait, there's more. What direction is it going? Down. So I need to add a negative right there. So the negative R value means that the direction of this correlation is correlating down. Correlation, so this one linear. Now, this third one here. Can I draw a line through that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I could draw a line pretty good through there. What do you say that R value? Is this R value better than the previous one?
No.
Yes? She says no, but other people say yes.
Okay, yeah.
I say yes too. So what do you say my percentage of this one would be? 80? Okay, so there we go. 0.8. Like that. So an R value would be 0.8. Don't forget, R value of 1 is 100%. So that would be 1.0. That would mean that this line would touch every single dot. And this one's also linear.
Oh, so linear.
Yeah, just linear. Or if you put strong, weak, you know.
No, I put negative.
Say what?
Where are you getting the 0.6?
We're estimating.
It's just like.
Yeah, we're estimating that 60% of the dots are actually right here, or like close to it. So if it was 100%, every dot would be on my line.
Oh, okay, I get it.
Okay? All right, good. So next one. It's very wordy. It's very wordy, so we need to pick out the correct words. So Dow Jones Industrial Average, high values, and the total number of points scored Super Bowl recorded 21 different years. Excel would use to find the value of the linear correlation coefficient R equals negative 0.133. Is there linear correlation before this and the Super Bowl? Now, look at this R value. Is that a good R value?
No.
No. Think of it as a percent. If you had that grade on a test, would you be happy with that? No, that's 13%, isn't it? So, we look at it like this. If it's not a good percentage, then there is no correlation. We consider things a correlation if it's going to be like some type of like a grade. Let's say you do not have your phone in front of you right now, and I don't have to put you on blast on this recording because that phone's away. Thank you. So for this right here, that 13% that someone got because they're playing with their phone during the review is not good. So if it was 0.6 or above or 0.7 above, I would say those are passing. So those would be a good R value. Okay, those one would be good R values. Those one would say yes, there's a correlation. But 13% is no. There's no correlation. Has a bad R value. That's it. Has a bad R value. That's a O. Correlation. There we go. Is that easy? Okay. So, very wordy on the problems, but what? English, please. Yes, I am. I'm trying to. Ooh, chill. All right. 3. A clinical study conducted to investigate the effectiveness of the drug Denzel for treating insomnia. It was found that there is a correlation between the amount of Denzel taken and the length of sleep. Based on the statistical analysis, can we conclude that Denzel is the cause of sleep? Can we say it? Yeah, why? Because there is a correlation. That means that it was kind of like the passing percentage that we had. Okay? So there is going to be a correlation on this. So yes. So it's right there. It's right there in the statement. And I know someone doesn't have their earbuds in, right? Right now? Oh. Mm-hmm. Those are your new earrings, right? Yeah. Got that bling, bling, bling. Aiden, put them away, please. Oh. They're hooked on the mask. All right, did you write it down? Good. Let's go to the next page. So we have a table here. So whenever we're doing these tables, I'm going to start by listing my values. The height is going to be considered the, what value? X, very good. And the interval after would be the, very good. So let's go through step by step and actually create a new document. So let's see if I could actually put 2 on the screen. There you go. Okay. So I'm trying not to cover it because you have this in front of you too. So I'm going to, on this one right here, I am going to hit house house, and then we go new documents because you don't want to have that old stuff in there. New documents. Do you want to save? No. List and spreadsheet for those people that are actually writing stuff down. And let's go through and label things. Pick up your calculator. Push buttons. Do it. Come on. Don't you even put that nasty thing away over there. Put it away. Yes, thank you. I'm trying to make you pass. So I'm not trying to hate on anyone except for Jahir, but still, I expect people, since I'm trying to make you pass, and this is going to be the last big grade for this this quarter, and I'm going to call this one the interval. Plug in my values for my x, which is 140, 110, 125, 120, 140, 120, 125, 150. And then for my intervals, start plugging those in. 92, 65, 72, 94, 83, 94, 101, and 87. So again, I mentioned this when we were doing our warm-up. You have to make sure you hit enter on that last one. Otherwise you get it to say mismatch. And you'll get an error when you try to run your reports. Alright, I am going to keep going on this because everyone has this paper in front of them to enter the data. So you don't need to see mine. So we're going to go through and do all the steps here. Doc, insert, data statistics is going to give me my graph. It's almost like you should be writing this down too. Yeah. This one's going to be height. Down on the bottom is going to be my interval. Now, from here, since I have this, it looks like it's not a very good line, is it? No, it's not a very good line. Need some air circulation here. People are just falling asleep. So it's so funny. Like, I really wish I could, like, you know, show you people what it looks like when you fall asleep. It's kind of funny from this direction. It really is. Some people are just doing the head bob thing, and others are just like drooling on their mask. So it's even funnier. Anyway, so I have my graph, I have my dots, and so now I'm going to go through doc, insert, calculator. Now from here, now's the time I'm going to run all three tests to look at my values. Menu, statistics, stat calculations, linear regression. So we're going to start with linear. Label my height and then my interval. And let's look at my R and my R squared values. Look at my r squared. 0.07. Is that a good number? Remember, you think about it as a percentage, as your score, 7%. That's not a good score. What about my r value here? That's 27, basically 27%. It's still not good, right? Good. Let's keep going. So now I'm running the next one. And statistics, stat calculations. Next one's going to be quadratic. Height, interval. Let's look at the r squared value now, because in the quadratic we only have r squareds. So my r squared is 31%. If I scroll up a little bit to look at my previous, my r squared is 7% for my linear, isn't it? So far my quadratic is looking better. But is 31% a good score? It's not a good score. Now, I'm going to do my last one, which is menu, statistics, stat calculations, exponential regression. Height, interval. Now, let's look at the r squared and the r values. Looking at my r squared here, what do I get for r squared? 9%. Is that a good percentage? No. The r value is 31. It's still not a good r value, but the best score that we have so far is my r squared here for this one. I think we're comparing r's, so this r squared is better than this r squared. So when we're comparing the r squareds, we have to look at these. So this r squared is going to be best, so we're going to use the quadratic equation, or the quadratic regression. I'm sorry, quadratic regression. So we need to write this down now.
Can you show me quadratic and exponential?
Quadratic what?
And exponential, so it's here.
Quadratic is here. My r squared is 0.31, and the exponential, my r squared is 0.909.
Oh.
That's 9%. So let's go ahead and write down this equation. Negative 0.04. So let's write that down. My equation is y equals negative x squared, right? And then it's going to be b, which is going to be 10.40 plus 10.40x. And my c value is plus c, which is negative 602.14. So I'm going to write minus 602.14. So I have my equation there. I have my equation. I know you guys all wrote it down on your paper, right? So we got part B done, and we did B before A, because now I'm going to use the information from B to solve for A. See this right here? I'm going to go back to my graph, which is on my 1.2. And now I'm going to put a line on there. I'm going to put my line on there. So this is going to be one of those steps that we didn't do very often. We did do it at the beginning, but we didn't do it as much later on in this unit. So from my graph right here, I'm going to hit menu. I know you're writing this down. Analyze graph. Regression. And what did we decide? This is quadratic, right? Show quadratic. I know you're writing these steps down. That's why I'm trying to go slow. So I have an equation now. We said it's quadratic. Now, what direction is this going? What direction is this going here?
Down.
It's going down, isn't it? Okay, and the r value, or the r squared value was what, 31%? I think so, yes? So, scatter plots state the form, it is quadratic. Direction, it's going down. And relative strength, r squared was about 0.31. So we answered all three of those now because I did all the work for question B. Is anyone questioned so far? Let's look at this one right here. It says, using your regression equation, predict the interval after eruption if a geyser erupts to a height of 100 feet. So, this information right here. What does the height represent? It is going to be 100, but what does it represent? My variable.
An X.
It's my x. So what does that mean I'm going to do with this 100? I'm going to plug it in for my x values. So that's why I labeled this at the beginning here. I labeled this my x's and my y's, and the height is my x's, so I'm going to plug in 100 everywhere I have an x. Yes?
Can't we also graph trace it too?
Yes, you can. You can graph trace also. So we're going to do another problem later on for the y's to graph trace.
Okay.
So right here, I'm going to go ahead and plug in my equation. So it's y equals negative 0.04 parentheses 100 close squared plus 10.40 close times 100. There we go. Minus 602.14, which is going to give me about 77. I am going to plug it in here in a moment, but I'm letting everyone copy it down. So now to get to this piece on my calculator, all you have to do is hit scratch pad. Scratch pad is the second button on the left. Second button on the left, scratch pad, and there you could just enter the equation. Too comfortable. Good morning. Yes. Good job. Is that why you fell asleep? Not just because I was boring? Okay. I'm worried I was too boring. Nope, don't swear that.
Oh, you found the X?
Huh?
How do you enter the X button?
You don't want to enter the X button. Just hit enter there. So let me see. So the first one's supposed to be a negative, that's why. There, okay, hold on, negative 0.04 times 100 squared plus 10.4 times 100 minus that look wrong? What'd you come up with? 37? 37? Okay. All right, so we come up with about 37. There we go. And that's part of my interval, so it's not height. It's not feet. Now, let's go back to on D now. Is there linear correlation? So, is there linear correlation? You guys tell me. She's shaking her head. Ryan, what do you say? Jahir, what do you say? You know, it's almost like if you weren't staring at your phone every time I look over there, yeah, you would be doing pretty good. What do we say the percentage is for correlation here? My R squared is 31%, isn't it? Is that a good score? No. That is not a good score. That's going to be the score of some people that are playing with their phone right now. But I digress. It's not a good score. So I would say, is there correlation? You would say no. No, because R squared is 31, and that's not a strong value. It's not a passing score. Are we good? Questions? Concerns? The hair? I know you're not on that phone right now, right?
No.
Oh, hell no, because I know that phone just went in your pocket right now, right? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. Now we're coming up to question 5. It's another table. How do I start this off? New document, right? Got to do a new document. So on my calculator, I'm right here, and I'm going to hit Home, New Document, and don't save the old one. Add lists and spreadsheets. And now I am going to... so this one's going to be impressions and sold. And so my impressions are going to be my X value, so I'm going to plug those in. So 28, 13, 14, 24, 20, 18, 14, 24, 17. 19, 7, 7, 20, 6, 4, 5, 25, and 12. And right here, before I get going too far, I'm going to label my impressions my X, my album sold my Y. Same steps. We're going to go through the exact same steps and go through after I figure out the equation I'm going to use. Wrong one. Right here. So, doc. Insert. And data statistics. Label my impressions and my sold. There we go. Huh? What's wrong? Okay. All right. So now I have the graph. Now I gotta try and figure out what type of equation I'm gonna use. I'm gonna try and figure out what type of equation I'm gonna use. So doc insert calculator. And I'm going to go through my steps every single time. So menu, statistics, stat calculations, and start with linear. Label my impressions and my sold. Look at my R value here. My R value is about 80%, right?
Yeah.
Is that a good R value?
Yes.
Yeah. And then if we're looking at the quadratic, we're going to have to compare it to the 0.63. But we're looking here first. So let's do the quadratic next. Menu, statistics, stat calculations, quadratic. There we go. My R squared is 0.64. It's a passing score, but not very good though, right? Okay, but was the previous one better with the 80%? Yeah, the previous one was better with the 80%. But if we're looking at the R, all right, so this one right here we said is no bueno. It's 64%. It's passing, but not very good. This R squared is 63%. So the better score so far is this one right here, my R value for linear. And now let's go back to, and my last one I have to do is going to be my, stat calculations, exponential, impressions, sold. There we go. This R value was 75%, and the R squared is 0.56. So far, what is the best score?
Linear.
The linear regression with 80%, right? So let's go back to this. So I'm going to scroll back up. Here we go. So I'm going to go through and plug in my variables. So it's going to be y equals mx plus b. So my m is 1.17. X, 1.17x plus b, and my b value is negative 10.66. Minus 10.66. So we have our equation, right? And let's go back up to A. Go back up to A. So what form did we have? What type of it was it? Linear, very good. So linear. So after linear, what direction? Is it positive or negative? It's positive because I had a positive R value, right?
Yes.
And the direction of my line, because I'm going to go back to that right now to get that information. Let's go back to our graph. And we said it's linear, so let's show the linear, show the line. So I'm going to go menu. This is kind of what we did before, but we haven't done it much. So I'm going to go here, analyze, regression, and I want to show linear, because that's the one I'm using here. So I go right there. Now I have my equation on there, and I'm looking at my line. And my line, reading it from left to right, it's going which way? Up or down? Up. So that helps me out because it tells me my direction. This is going to go up. And relative strength, R, is about 80%, right? Try to make sure everyone has time to copy down all these steps, especially with the ones that we just did with the graph, adding the line, because those were important. Okay? So we now have an equation. We have everything for this first one, A and B, and For C, it says, using a regression equation, which we have here, predict the number of albums sold for 25 million audience impressions. So we said impressions is which value? It's my X value, right?
Yes.
So what am I going to replace my X value with? 25. Because all these are in millions anyway. So I'm going to replace the X with 25. So let's plug that into my equation here. Y equals 1.17 parentheses 25 close minus 10.66. So let's see what we get now. 18.59? Do you people agree?
Yeah.
Does everyone agree? Okay. So is that pretty easy to do now? So the key part to this is reading what is being input. It's either going to be the X value or we're solving for the Y value. Now, I'm going to add one more question to this after I'm done with D. And we're going to do another one that's going to solve for Y this time. But let's go through on D. Does it appear that album sales are affected strongly by the number of audience impression? Yes. Why is it yes? R value is 0.80. So that's a good score. That's a good score. If you got that on this test here, I would be happy with you. I expect you all to get A's, but I would be happy if you get 80% average. Now, I'm going to add one more question here that's not on there. So E, it says solve for an audience impressions when an album sold is 11. So I know we ain't playing with our phone because we're writing down question E that I just put on there, right? That I just put on there, right?
I am doing it. I am.
Now, let's see right here. We're solving for audience impressions. So that means I'm solving for the X value this time. And it says when album sold is 11. So now in this case right here, I have the Y value being 11, don't I? The Y value is 11. So let's go through and solve for that. So I'm going to use my calculator and I'm going to use trace. So I'm on my graph. And let's see, I'm going to go menu, analyze, graph trace. So write that down. Menu, analyze, graph trace. There we go. So now I have my dots here. And so I'm going to move this along to where I see my y value. Let me move this up so get that out of the way. I want my y value to be 11. So if I'm looking right here, I want my y value to be 11, right? So since I want the y value to 11, which is here, and I'm approximating it anyway. So it means I was looking for the x value, and in this case, the x value is going to be about 18.6. Yes?
Yes.
That's all I need to do there. So I'm going to go to my thing, and so we're going to say it's going to be about 18.6. Now, does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, questions, concerns, complaints? All right, so thank you for sticking with me. For those people that were able to stay awake for the whole time, don't forget, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification button. Follow the link below. Buy my merch.